What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sports Debates. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Dwayne and Emmanuel. And today we're talking about the NBA trade deadline. We're going to break down some trades that we fit into certain categories. We'll talk about the winners of the deadline, losers of the deadline, trades that confused us, trades that we really like, trades that were underrated, all that good stuff. We'll try to cover as much as we can. Obviously, so many trades, we can't necessarily talk about all of them. And then we'll take a look at kind of the standings, see what's what as we enter the final stretch of the NBA season. Last few months, playoff chases are getting tight, and we'll see which teams we think have a chance of going all the way. So we'll get right into it. Trade deadline awards, you could call them. We have about eight, nine categories here that we'll work through. The first one is a win-win trade. So this is a trade that you think both sides walked away from it with a win. It fit both of their needs, their criteria, even if it was a competitive team and a non-competitive team, two competitive teams, whatever. But a trade that you liked for both sides. Dwayne, I'll start with you.
For me personally, and this is going to sound weird because both teams suck right now, it was the Pacers Clippers trade with Zubac and Mathurin. I think, first of all, Pacers needed a legitimate center with the loss of Miles Turner, and Zubac fixed that role perfect. Benedict Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson are good young talent that the Clippers are going to need for the future, as both teams aren't really going to be good. Well, Pacers have a possibility of being really good next year with Halliburton being back, but the Clippers we know are on a decline. Since that trade with Harden. So, with that in mind, I would say that trade is a winner.
Sure.
Yeah, that was one of the trades I have. So I'll rotate to my second place. I'll go with Atlanta and the Wizards, picking up Trey Young. And uh, so the Trey Young trade, Atlanta receives an expiring contract to CJ McCollum and are allowed to move on from Trey Young for just, because it hasn't worked out for them. And they get a shooter in Corey Crispert. And the Wizards pick up Trey Young, a star point guard that can be a floor raiser for the young players on the team as well.
Yeah, for me, this was a trade that at first I was kind of not sure about it. I was kind of confused with the teams involved, but looking back at it, I really like it. And that's the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. Um, Now, I remember when the trade first came out, I was like, the Jazz, I did not think they were going to make a trade for a big time player like Jaren Jackson Jr. Um, but I like this for both sides. For Utah, you have now a star player to build around. They aren't playing great this year, right? They're like bottom of the West, one of the bottom teams. So they're not going to be making the playoffs this year. Jaren Jackson Jr. is actually out for the season. He's getting his knee repaired, which is good for the future. But you have 4 years of Jaren Jackson Jr. in his prime, his age 27 to 30 seasons. So he's already made a name for himself. He's one of the best defensive players of this era, a great scorer as well. And now you've got him locked up for this window that is opening up with your young players. You've got Ace Bailey, of course. You've got Keontae George, who's averaging, I think, 24 points at age 22. So he's made some big leaps. You're going to get a high draft pick this year. So I think that as their window's opening up, they have a star player. They don't have to worry about finding that later down the line. They now have that guy. Young guys fill in. And I think a few years down the line, they could be a really good team because of this. And then for Memphis, they had a competitive team for years. Nothing was happening from it. So I think getting rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. was the right move. I think they need to reset. And you got three first round picks for him, and you got a young guard in Walter Clayton Jr., who slots in with some of the other young guys they have. They have 13 picks from 2026 to 2032, and the Jaren Jackson Jr. gave them three of those. So I think it was the right move for Memphis, and I really like Utah sliding in there and taking a star player this early in their kind of next era. So that was one for me. All right, and then alternatively, let's go to a lose-lose trade. So maybe not as common as a win-win trade, but a trade that you really don't like for either team. Emmanuel, who you got?
For this trade, I got the Warriors and the Raptors trade, where the Warriors receive a 2026 second round pick, and the Raptors receive Tracy Jackson Davis, center for the Warriors previously. Um, Now I know the Raptors needed size in the big man position, and I know the Warriors did eventually trade for Kristaps Porzingis, and they do have Al Horford coming back, but and Quentin Post as well. But these two of those guys are really old. Al Horford is basically was there at the start of time itself, and you got Kristaps Porzingis coming in. He's dealing with, I want to say it was POTS, which is an illness he has to suffer from. Yep. So he's not exactly reliable, and you're giving away either sin or death. I know you didn't expect him to be all that, but you know, you needed somebody, and I don't know exactly why you only traded him for a 2026 second round pick. Like, what are you going to do with that? It's a second round pick of this year. It's better to just keep him and try to get his value up if you actually wanted to move on from him.
I would say the Pistons, Bulls, and Timberwolves trade. With I think the Bulls just stacked up on guards a little too much, and
Mm.
now they're too guard heavy. I think a trade was bound to happen, but it didn't get through. But now you're just stuck with a whole bunch of guards. In general, I would say it's a lose for the Bulls more than the Pistons. With the Pistons, they got rid of Jaden Ivey, and even though I know he struggles to shoot, that's still your core defense. You know what I'm saying? And you give him up for Kevin Herter. Don't get me wrong, Kevin Herter is a great shooter, but does that really isn't the whole point in that Detroit feeling is that defense? Kevin Herter doesn't know how to play defense. Dario Saric, yeah, okay, but you give up Jaden Ivey. That's a possible like all defense player possible, and you just give it up just because you need shooting. I don't know. And then Minnesota's just for cash considerations, but giving up Mike Conley is really rough. I know, like I understand that was because you need room. I completely understand that, but if we're looking just at the players that are traded, Mike Conley's a hurt piece because Mike Conley is kind of not I wouldn't say the core, but definitely the vet of that group. So you're trading away a vet. I believe he was supposed to re-sign with them, if I remember correctly, because he got released. But until that moment comes, it's going to be a lose-lose for me.
Well, I'm just going to interject here. I think Timberwolves losing because you got to remember Timberwolves got Io DeSumo as well from the Bulls in that trade, and that's really going to be their young point guard that they're going to develop. And um, getting trading away Jaden Ivey, I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I think he didn't fit exactly well, and the Pistons know what they needed as 3-point shooting. And the Pistons are really similar to what OKC is, where defense is their identity, but they also need 3-point shooting. And unfortunately, the Pistons do not have it. So picking up somebody like Kevin Herter is extremely important. And you can see the same thing with OKC's move during the trade deadline, where they picked up somebody that isn't exactly the greatest defender, but they're a good shooter as well.
Yeah, lose lose that I didn't like. This is more personal preference. I don't think it was a loss on either team necessarily, but I personally didn't like it for either side. And that was the Harden trade because look, Cleveland, they've been a 60 win team several times. They've never made it to the finals. They always get upset. Trying to shake things up, I don't mind that. But you're getting the guy who is infamous for disappearing when you need him the most. And I think, he fits in playmaking wise. He's going to elevate, their big men and all that stuff. And he's having a better season than Garland. I think having a better season than Garland's really ever had. I'm not familiar if he's ever averaged the same stuff that Harden's doing right now. But when you get to the playoffs and it's game 7 and you need him to give you 20, don't be surprised if he gives you 8. Like there's no reason for me to believe that it's going to be different because it wasn't different in Brooklyn, it wasn't different in Philly, it wasn't different with the Clippers. So if regular season they're probably going to look really good for the rest of the time and Harden's going to be playing crazy, and then playoffs not good. And then for the Clippers, I don't mind Garland. Like he's under control. He's young. You can kind of stay competitive with him, but he is pretty injury prone. and he's expensive. And this team has been trying to dump salaries, get off of all these old guys they're paying. So I don't necessarily think it makes them any better long term. The organization's kind of still stuck, in my opinion. I just didn't like it personally.
I just want to say one more thing I forgot to say. Jaden Ivey is also on an expiring contract. He'll be a free agency. I want to say he's going to be a free agent this year. And I don't think the Bulls are, according to Kenny Beecham, who I enjoy watching because he was talking about the Bulls today. He doesn't expect Jaden Ivey to get re-signed, point guard wise. So I would see him as a free agency. So maybe they can, maybe you'll see Jaden Ivey somewhere else where he can really shine.
Yeah.
Shout out Kenny Beecham.
Mano, did you have a lose-lose?
Oh yeah. It was the Warriors and the Raptors.
Oh yeah, you said it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Biggest fleece.
Oh, please
So
let me
a
start.
lopsided
Please.
trade. Dwayne, did you have one?
I feel like it's kind of obvious in this one, and I think it's the Porzingis Kuminga trade.
Mm.
I feel like
What? Okay.
I feel like an injury prone Porzingis is not. I mean, it's a fleece in the sense of value, but the Warriors had no choice. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, oh, the Warriors are just well, no, the Warriors are just dumb, but it is a combination of, oh, we waited till the last minute and we're dumb, and oh, this is all we have left. Let's just give them Kaminga for Porzingis, who is injury prone. I get it's a center, sure, but uh, you he's so like, and it's not even his fault. You know what I'm saying? But he's so injured all the time. I think it had you gone about it better and one and first of all, not dog Kaminga, that would have been a lot better of a trade. Um, and there was another one. I think I'm forgetting. Oh, it was Anthony Simons for Vucevic. Because yet again, the Bulls are now even more guard heavy, and you just gave them Vucevic. Now, don't get me wrong, Vucevic is not this. But like you put him on any team, he's still going to produce. You know what I'm saying? So you just gave them a center, the Celtics, mind you, who are doing perfectly fine,
Without
and
Jason Tatum.
without right, a good center, a solid center, and you get another guard when you already have like five of them. I don't know. Both of those are at the same level for me. So, you know,
Not to mention they didn't even get a first round pick back at the very least. But yeah, my biggest fleece. Um, Shout out to my guy Sam Presti. Easily OKC getting Jared McCain. I mean, look, here's the trade details. OKC receives Jared McCain. Sixers receive 2026 Rockets first round pick. So you're expecting a bottom end draft pick and 3 second round picks, which probably aren't going to be much because we know the Sixers aren't the greatest at drafting players, especially in the second round. I don't know what Sam Presti did to whisper sweet, soft nothings into Daryl Morey's ear to pull off this trade, but this trade is already starting to bite him in the butt because we just saw Jared McCain have a really great night on his birthday, and I don't know. I was hoping we would, if we did trade him, we would get a little more than a Rockets first round pick at the very least. I mean, and look at the Sixers now. We have no point guard depth. We had uh Marjan Basham. I want to say his name. I probably butchered it. He was playing for a while. We had Kyle Lowry coming off the bench. He's 30 something. What are we doing for our point guard depth? We have no hope. We have no hope in point guard depth at the moment, and it's a problem. It's a real problem. But yeah, Sixers got fleeced. No new surprise. Hope Daryl Morey sells the team, get him out of here. You know, that's it.
Yeah, that's my fleece as well. And when you look at like in theory, what the Sixers were doing with like the idea of the trade, it's not the worst thing because okay, they wanted to dip below the tax threshold wherever they were at, shave some money there. They had good guard depth, so like the idea of trading a guard away because you have Maxey and Edgecombe and Grimes, like you were able to trade a guard, but it being Jared McCain, who was on pace to win Rookie of the Year last year, recovering from a season-ending injury, and a key piece of that locker room for the Sixer team that is really performing off vibes this year more than anything. and just the connections that have been built on that team. It's not and getting your first round pick is going to be upper first round pick because the Rockets are going to be, in the 20s. And then second round picks like don't necessarily mean anything. Like it just didn't need to happen for McCain. And like I personally wasn't opposed to the idea of trading him because of Edgecombe, but I wanted a player and I wanted a better return for that because you got to like Maury said he's selling high on him, but you really weren't because you're trading the right now. You're not selling high would be trading him last year, like that version of him last year, and getting a really good return for that.
Yeah, I have no idea what he meant by selling high because he was literally starting to get into a rhythm, and then he hits an
Mhm.
8 point game and you trade him. Now look at him over here; he's hitting double digits almost every night on limited
Oh
minutes,
yeah.
especially with SGA and Jalen Williams out. He's really showing out for what he can do for this team.
And I said the Sixers are going off vibes. The Thunder are they're the biggest team that rides off vibes. I mean, I saw his post game interview and he's doing the barking thing with everyone. And they're crying. I'm like, come on, man! Like that was our guy, and you just brought him to like the best place possible for his personality.
I mean, it's incredibly how stupid of a trade that is. It's just you get nothing. It doesn't improve the team at all because you don't even make a move with the first round pick or the 3 seconds you get. You just have them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you could say that trade was confusing. We're going to move on to the most confusing trade, and I feel like some of these technically could repeat. Some fleeces could be confusing, some lose-lose could be confusing. I'll start. My most confusing trade was the Kuminga for Porzingis trade. We did a bunch of mocks for Kuminga. A lot of them were focused around bringing in a center, so they did that by bringing in Porzingis. But you brought in a guy who literally is having heart problems right now. He could drop dead at any moment playing basketball. He also has an injured calf and you already are down Jimmy Butler. Steph Curry's not getting any younger. Draymond is going to injure himself tackling someone. Like you're you're a beat up team, you're an old team, and you bring in a guy who you don't even know if he's like physically able to play a certain amount of minutes at high intensity. So to me, not upset that they traded Kaminga, but you did it for like not the right player. And so it was just confusing why they chose him of all players.
And I just want to throw that in there. They were in talks for Jaren Jackson Jr. Could you imagine if they landed Jaren Jackson Jr.? Oh my goodness. I mean, Dwayne, can you imagine this? Like how great a team that would be?
Yo, okay. I saw you scheming over there. I saw you smirking and everything. I was like, I
But
know you about to say something.
let me ask you this. Do y'all think they could have pulled off a trade for Jaren Jackson Jr., seeing
No,
what type of haul they could have got? I mean,
no,
they did get for him? No.
No, I don't think they have four firsts to give away. Three firsts.
I think they did. They were willing to give everything up for Giannis.
True.
Jaren
They
Jackson
probably
is
could
no
have,
Giannis,
but
but
they probably offered something really egregious, and the Memphis just like
you
hung up.
yeah you they yeah no. But Emmanuel, you want to go or I could go.
no, you can go. I had the same thing about the Warriors landing Kristaps Porzingis as well.
I think for me, it's kind of two trades where well, okay, the confusing trade first of all was the Jared McCain trade for me. That I prom I was at school, right, and I just sat there sitting at a wall. And I was just like, no way. Like someone walked up to me like, "Yo, what's good?" I was like, "We just traded Jared McCain," and he was like, "Who?" I said, "Don't worry about it, bro." That was such a like that. I just sat there so I text my dad. I was like, "Yo, we just traded McCain." He was like, "What?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, "What are we doing?" Now, the whole thing was that it was supposed to be a part of another trade happening, like that whole ordeal.
Mm.
But you can't do that last minute and then expect, oh, I got another trade coming. No, you can't do that. So for me, I'm looking at that and like, what are we doing? Then this trade didn't make sense for well, it kind of made sense for the Mavs, but the Wizards confuse me at the moment, and that's this Anthony Davis, Chris Middleton trade. Now, don't get me wrong, right? It's not necessarily a terrible trade. The Mavs got a plethora of picks, which is
Mm-hmm.
great, and you know, it's just with the Wizards. D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis. Jaden Hardy is good, granted, and Exum is a solid player, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not really understanding D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, you
I
pair
think,
Anthony Davis with Trey Young, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. This isn't prime Anthony Davis we're talking about, right? This
yeah, of
isn't
course.
Pelicans Anthony Davis.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, you're gonna have him for maybe 40 games, maybe.
That's kind of pushing.
And with D'Angelo Russell, right, and that's pushing it. And with D'Angelo Russell, he hasn't had a good year in 3 years.
Well, I
You
think
know
for
what
the
I'm
deal,
saying?
I think
So
D'Lo was just there for the cash considerations.
He's probably on a expiring contract
Yeah,
anyway.
I,
I just
and
dump him later.
I can kind of see the Anthony Davis thing there, trying to help out. Not as a player, okay, less as a player wise. Obviously, AD still has talent to play on the court and everything, but it's more
correct.
for Alex Sarr, like a sort of mentor type of thing. But that's why I believe Trey Young is being brought there for, is to help out these young stars to raise their floors. Because you have
I don't think Trey
obviously
Young's a good
Rodney.
leader, so I don't think so.
Well, he doesn't have to be a good leader, but I think he can. I think he's definitely a floor raiser for guys. I think he's more. I mean, he's like a lesser version of Chris Paul, where Chris Paul would come into a team and he would raise the floors of the team of the guys around him.
We gotta see that before I can say that.
I mean, playmaking wise,
Because don't get me wrong,
10
yeah,
assists a game.
I would say playmaking wise, but team wise, I gotta see that first.
Yeah, of
Because
course, of
what
course.
have the Hawks done
I mean, beat the Knicks.
except from make the playoffs?
Beat the
Like,
Sixers.
I remember I'm saying
Yeah,
like just beat the Knicks that one in the like that like one playoff series. Ever since then, it's just kind of been like meh,
yeah, no, that's
So
fair.
I don't know.
Of course, obviously, I still have some bias because I'm going off of like 2021 version of Trey Young where he was doing all of this, but I still have faith. I think a new change of scenery will do well for him.
All right, let's go to underrated trade. So a trade that involved a player that maybe flew under the radar, not necessarily a shams bomb or anything, but looking at it, you really like the fit for the team that they went to or the players that were moved around. So Emmanuel, I'll start with you.
So my pickup is, or the most underrated trade for me is the Knicks picking up Jose Alvarado from the Pelicans. I think that was an excellent pickup for the Knicks, getting a backup, getting more point guard depth, bench depth, and he's actually been playing pretty well. Great defensive player. He's working on his threes, and he doesn't have to be a big part, but he's there, and he brings energy to the team, and it's great to see, especially when the Knicks were struggling. So they went out there and made a move, and they've been pretty okay so far, even though they lost to the Pistons without half their team, but whatever.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Uh, so uh, it's kind of flew on the radar because I think this is a good fit for a player as well. But Lonzo Ball going to Utah, especially with all the
Brandon
trades
Paul.
they made. Uh, Probably not. But like
Wait, isn't
let me say
Lonzo a free
this:
agent?
I think they just like waived him.
I was gonna say they
did
waived
they
him.
release them?
Yeah, because they only took him.
Oh, that's
They
crazy.
only took him because of cash.
What?
His contract's huge, and then they waived him,
That
so
would have been a great
he's a free
because
agent.
they need
I would have
playmaking.
liked to see that, but
Yeah, they needed playmaking. Wow. Wait, what? That's insane. Wow. Okay. Well,
no one's
here
picked him
goes
up
that.
yet, which is kind of interesting.
Now, if we want to talk about free
Yeah.
agent moves, can we talk about most underrated free agent moves then? Because I think we all know who that's going to.
Cam
Oh,
Thomas.
yeah, with the Bucks, that
Oh
has been a
yeah. I
What
great
are
don't
the
even know
move.
how
Bucks
that
doing,
happened.
bro? I don't
Yeah,
even know.
I don't know how that
I don't know why they just
how
let him
did it
go.
even like you know what? Yeah, I don't know why he just let him go. Like
One
what was he
underrated
doing?
move for me that I
But
think, yeah, one underrated move for me that
what?
I think someone mentioned it earlier was the Dosunmu trade to the Timberwolves from the Bulls. Um, Really good player that just slots in as a role guy off the bench. He's shooting 44% from three this year on like 4 attempts. So he's having a ridiculous shooting season, and he has a 6'10 wingspan. So I think that slots in really nice with the Timberwolves defense, which is really exciting and aggressive. You got Naz Reid, Edwards, Randall, McDaniels. So I think it just that defensive energy and the 3 point, like that's the Timberwolves game right there. And I think he slots in perfectly off the bench there as a role piece. So
Uh,
I really like that trade.
I'm sorry. Can you say that? Who are you talking about? I would assume.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's the Timberwolves.
yeah. Great
Yep.
pickup. Love that. Still didn't get a first round pick from.
Yeah. All right, let's go to a player that you think has the best change of scenery. I think there's an obvious answer here, but was there anyone else besides Jonathan Kuminga
Yes,
that you could think of?
yes.
Right, Emmanuel?
Yes.
We're gonna go with Usman Dang to the Bucks. Usman Dang
I
from
don't know
the
who that
Thunder.
is.
Oh, Usman Dang played extremely well. In fact, I think the game he came back against OKC, he had. Let me see what is. He had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks, and played 36 minutes. He dominated that team, and he's so good, and he's finally getting a chance to shine. I
Sure.
know we let him go to
Yeah.
the Bucks, but I'm so proud of him. And obviously, you have to go Jared McCain as well.
Dang it! I
Oh,
was about to say that. Yeah, I mean, like, hear me out when I say this. Even though I didn't never wanted to trade him, right?
mm-hmm.
The best place he could have gone was there. Like, if we're looking out for him, absolutely the best place he could have gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And I said Jonathan Kuminga. I feel like that was obvious from the start, like a guy that just needed to go somewhere where they were actually going to play him and utilize his skills, which was really anywhere. If he went anywhere, it would have been a good change of scenery. Just to a team that would put him in give him consistent minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, most surprising player that was not traded. I will start this one. Why the heck is Michael Porter Jr. still on the Nets? It
Uh,
makes zero sense. Now look, I know he's got somewhat of a big contract, so maybe not every team was willing to take that on. But he's averaging 25, 7, and 3 for the Nets, who are currently 15 and 40, second to last in the East. He's a great shooter. His leg's kind of falling off. He's held on by a brace, which I didn't know until I saw a reel about that. Like he's got like crazy brace on his ankle. It's kind of interesting. Kind of injury prone, but he's having one of his best seasons. And I think a lot of teams would like a player of his height and his ability on their team. And the Nets are not competitive right now. They're not going to be competitive for a few years. So I was just really confused why he wasn't traded. And I wonder if teams were in on him or like they didn't trade him because there was no interest. Emmanuel?
yeah, my most surprising player not traded was Ja Morant.
Mm,
Um, after seeing the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade go through, I was expecting them to move Ja as well, seeing that they were going into a rebuild sort of situation. Because I'm like, why are you trading Jaren Jackson Jr. now? Because now that means you're basically not even trying to compete anymore. So you guys are going to a rebuild. What's the best way to go in a rebuild? Trade another star player, get as many draft picks as you can. I didn't know that Ja Morant's market was that bad that they couldn't even trade him. And, that was pretty surprising that didn't go through. But yeah, that's my most surprising player not traded.
um, did we forget Giannis? Like, yeah.
Boo,
All
that's
this build up
basic.
for Giannis. No, but think about it. All this build up for Giannis, and nothing happens. Like that, like even if he went to a bummy team, right? At least Giannis is traded. At least we have a conclusion. But now, like, nothing happened. So it's just like, oh, all this talk for Giannis, huh?
This is why you never believe Shams. He's a fraud. Ryan, you're muted.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
the
whoa.
Bulls to
Yeah, I
Giannis,
think
like
Ryan's
Giannis to
muted.
the Bulls trade, like I was genuinely
I
thought
was
that was going to happen. I know you
that's
did too, Emmanuel. Like the fact that that itself didn't happen.
Yeah, because
I,
you see what I'm saying?
like they
It
were
All the
gearing up.
pieces were
so many
falling. They were all coming
guards
together.
and
Bro,
so
I
much,
was like, they got to do this. They're stacking up
bro.
second round picks to get traded, and they have all these young players. They got to do it now, right? No.
and they just don't. Like
Yep.
that just never made sense to me. So no, that definitely is. Even though it may be a basic answer, good lord, like we just sat there like, when is it gonna drop? When is it gonna drop? And it never dropped.
Yeah.
Like, bruh,
Don't ever trust Shams unless
bro, I don't think it's Sham's fault though. Like, hold on, time out,
Shams the one who kept
time out,
reporting
time out.
that he was asking to get traded.
Because he most definitely is. Now, hear me when I say this, right? Hear me when I say this.
But
I
Giannis
think
literally said it was all for like he basically did all he literally made fun of Shams for thinking that it was actually going to
Mm.
happen.
my thing is he probably did it right because that little brand deal he did was
Calci.
cashy.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was a
like
marketing strategy.
that's
I don't
that's
think,
what
but
he
see,
did, and then
but see, that's
Shams
not.
just going to get all the blame.
Yes, Shams is going to get all the blame. You're supposed to do your homework. You got fooled.
How
You got
it was a
bamboozled.
whole deal.
Exactly. It's a
That's not what
marketing
Shams.
scheme. It is
Yeah,
Shams.
that's
If
not
I'm
what
a
Shams.
reporter, if I'm a reporter and somebody tells me something, I'm gonna do my most diligent work to make sure that it's actually happening
No, it was see,
before I report.
it was set up by Giannis. Giannis leaked the intel that he was going to get traded, so everyone would go place bets on Kalshi where he's going.
Thank you.
But that's what I'm saying. You gotta
But
actually do
how
your
you?
work.
Hold on, hold
It,
on,
like
hold on. Did
you can't just
did
take.
or did Shams? Yes or no? Hold on. Yes or no? Did Shams explicitly say Giannis said he would like to be traded? Didn't he say that multiple times? Yes or no?
Explicitly. I'm not sure if he said those exact words, but I'm pretty sure he said something close to it that
I've heard that they were like working. Him and the Bucks were like discussing,
working. Yeah,
which is usually always the first report before a player gets. That's what happened with Trae Young, with Harden. Like it's always
Exactly. And if it comes from the mouth of Giannis, you have nothing else to report. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's necessarily on Shams. I think it was Giannis wanted to play a little part in his little brand deal, and Shams caught the bad end of it. Because guess what? Every other report turned out pretty close to correct. I
well,
can't
those
like
were already
that's
official trades that already went through.
well, what's the name was we already knew what's the name was being traded.
Too.
what is his name?
Kuminga.
Well,
Kaminga.
yeah, but
We
like
already knew Kuminga was being
For a
traded.
second there, I thought he wasn't
Hold
though.
hold on, time out. Yeah, exactly. And then, boom, it was for Porzingis. Not a good trade, but Shams did. You know what I'm saying? Shams was on
James
time.
also failed to
And to be
report
fair,
any rumors about James Harden getting traded to the Cavaliers until the very night that it happened.
Yeah, that did just kind of come out of
but did he
nowhere.
report it?
Exactly.
All right, Woj would have been
But
on
did
it
he
last
report it?
year, bro.
Exactly. Weeks
No, he
before. I
would
mean,
not.
sure,
Let's
when it was
stop it.
actually
No,
happening,
let's stop
yes, he
it.
would.
Because shit,
Woj
no,
would
because
absolutely weeks
Shams.
before tell us
Hold on.
this happened.
Whoa, hold on. Time out. Woj got. Remember when Woj that Luca trade, right? There were no talks
Yes.
about it
Well,
before.
that's a one of a kind.
But there
Like
were talks
I don't
about it
even think
before.
either team knew
But
that
they
was
were.
happening until right then.
No, bro.
They
But
were.
they were talking
There
about
was
it.
no previous.
It
It
literally
was.
just
Yes,
like
there
came
were.
together in
It
5 minutes.
was 1 o'clock in the morning. There was no rumors about Luca
Oh my
ever being
god.
traded before that
The
happened.
Yes, there
Lakers didn't even know
was.
that was happening.
There
They're
was.
just like, oh,
There was
okay.
no
What?
trade rumors.
There's literally reports of them talking previously, and then that trade happened.
No, there were no reports of it. There
Oh
were
my
zero reports of Luca being traded.
god.
That's why it's called one of the most surprising and worst trades ever. Because no one had any idea of it ever happening. Because there were no reports. It was so sudden.
All right, fine, but we can't act like Shams is just all of a sudden the worst reporter. We just can't.
He can't hoop. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
what
Giannis is. Hey,
Those
Giannis
All
don't
Star
like.
game numbers.
Giannis pissing me off anyway. So
Giannis hates. I think Giannis and Shams got beef now.
good.
Giannis is treating Shams how Wemby cheats Chet.
Yeah,
That's the type of
because
hate that I'm seeing.
Giannis is being a bum right now.
Speaking of teams that Shams did not report on, there were some teams that didn't do anything. And you begin to wonder, did they even know that a trade deadline was happening? So let's talk about some teams that didn't do anything. The Rockets, the Heat, and the Spurs made 0 trades. And there were several other teams that made like one small trade. So, Dwayne, was there a team that didn't do anything or did very little that you were disappointed by?
I feel like this is very easy. It's the Heat. Like, what are we doing? Y'all just gonna stay mid for the rest of y'all? Like,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
playing champions.
That's insane. Like, we just gonna like. Don't get me wrong. The players they have there aren't bad, right? Bam, great player. Tyler Hero, a solid third option, right? But like,
I didn't hear no Norman Powell.
Norman
no,
Powell's the leader of that team.
You better say his name.
All-star Norman Powell.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. You should have traded Norman Powell.
Oh,
For something. Yeah.
for Giannis.
Wait, who's the young center that they have?
Where?
You talking about for the Heat?
Yes.
The Heat's
Him
young.
Hello,
and
where?
Claire Ware. Yeah.
Yes. For at least something to boost up the rest of your squad there.
Giannis.
I feel like I don't think they would have landed Giannis, to be fair. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think they have enough for someone like
LeBron.
Giannis. You could put that out there. You actually could put that out there.
Taking my talents to
especially with
South Beach for the second time.
like, can you imagine Khalil Ware and Norman Powell
We never want to
for
see that.
for LeBron?
They're definitely
then you
asking
have-
for way more than that for LeBron.
No, I'm taking that. Low key from the Lakers. That's what you need.
Yeah,
Need a
that's what
shooter.
you need.
I need a
And
big
the
man.
center. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And also, thank God Gabe Vincent is gone. God, he was. Listen, I'm not even a Lakers fan, but that dude stinks. Gabe Vincent is so bad. That man just runs cardio for games. Yo, like
Best
what
form
are
of
we
medicine.
doing? Bro, there's no way. I am so glad the Lakers traded Gabe Vincent, bro. Because who was it even for? Hold on, I gotta go back because I think it was for Kevin Herter. I believe it was for Kevin
Yeah.
Herter,
I think that was where the trade
which
comes from for
that
Kevin Hart.
was a great trade. Because anything for Gabe Vincent is a great trade. You could have traded him for a bag of chips and it'd been better. Shoot. So, anyway, yeah, I just wanted to.
All right, Emmanuel, team that disappointed you.
I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with the Rockets, honestly. I had the Heat, but I know they have Gabe Vincent under contract, blah 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 blah. The Timberwolves got Io DeSuma for nothing. Like a second round pick. Y'all telling me y'all could have at least picked up an actual point guard? Especially Io DeSumo. There's a hot sell on point guards from the Bulls, apparently. You know, make something work there. This team could be a really good contender if you give them a point guard. And Io DeSumo would sit behind Fred VanVleet, so he would
He would fit
actually
well in that team, yeah.
yeah. But they sat on their hands and did nothing.
Yeah, I think Heat are the obvious choice. Houston as well. Spurs, like they didn't make any moves, but I don't necessarily feel like they needed to. Like such a young team, like it's
And
maybe a bench player, but I didn't necessarily need to see them do anything. I was disappointed by the Magic. They made, I think, one trade, but they're not living up to the hype that we gave them ahead of the season. And they've been down Wagner for most of the season. So I just think you could have found a player that, not a necessarily big name, but just a player that can fill something that you're missing. I don't know exactly what it is that they're missing. I don't watch any of their games, but I'm sure they could have found something. And the East is wide open. You know, you get on a run, talented enough team. I feel like they're just kind of cooked this year, at least if they keep playing like this. All right, and that takes us nicely into the overall winners and losers of the deadline. So start with winners. Dwayne, who are your winners of the deadline?
All right. So Indiana is number one for me. Indiana easily has definitely got out on what they needed to do. Number two is OKC. Even though they didn't have to do much, that's the point. They didn't have to do much. They literally just needed to make one move, and they were like, "Okay, we're great." And even though it was stupid on the Sixers, I have the Sixers as the losers because I don't even want to get into it. Yeah, no, I'm not even because I'm yeah. And then my final winner is Minnesota because I believe they can actually re-sign Mike Conley under a lesser contract because he got waived. So essentially, they gained the Suma, right? And then
They actually did do
that's
that.
they
They
did.
did bring back. I'm pretty sure they
Oh,
did
they're
bring back
perfect.
Mike Conley for another contract.
They're perfect.
Yeah.
They literally just finessed everybody in
Hmm.
that trade, which is perfect. So props to them.
Yeah, yeah, he's back. Yep. My winners, I got Timberwolves. I got Ayo DeSumo, point guard they dearly needed. OKC. I got the Knicks. Getting depth and is always good. I have Indiana. I got the Clippers getting younger and grabbing draft picks in return because they own three of the Pacers' first round picks for the next 3 years or so. And I have the Cavs being winners. With picking up Harden because right now, regular season wise, Harden's been pretty good for them. Um, the Cavs were really struggling this season, as we saw, but James Harden has apparently helped them out a lot that way. And then for my losers, I have Warriors, Chicago, because you managed to move all these guys and then get a single first round pick, and now have a roster
Hmm.
full of guards, barely even building for the future. And we have the Sixers, losers. You just traded away a future star to the defending champions for pocket change. So those are my three losers.
Yeah. See, winners. Wanted to give the Hornets some love. Kind of like the moves they made. They weren't crazy, but I mean they're a team that is kind of in it, sort of. And they brought in a couple guards to add on to their team. I don't know if they qualify as winners, but I did want to give them love right here. See, there's so many teams where like I liked that they were active, but I don't necessarily like all the moves. For example, like the Mavericks, you got a lot of picks for AD and you got rid of AD,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that is a win. But then the chain reaction is now you've lost the Luka trade even more somehow, more than you already did. So I don't know if I could give them a full victory, but I did want to shout them out. OKC, definitely small moves, but they will come back to bite everyone involved. Um, those are my major winners. No team like feel like dominated the deadline at all.
Incorrect.
Who do you think?
OKC.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not there
I
wasn't a
feel like
team that like, oh shoot,
Made
these
tons
guys like
tons of moves and
got
like
up to another level.
oh
Like was like a play-in team and now they're
I
like
would say
now they're in it. Which one?
the Hawks. I feel like they've made enough trades to where
Yeah,
it
I guess with
definitely
the
reshaped the team a little bit.
yeah, because playing
I
into
feel to be
playoff.
fair.
Yeah, I can
I
see
mean the
that.
Wizards could turn
I
into winners like if,
I think next
it all
season,
clicks.
I think next
I
season they are going to
yeah,
be winners of the trade if you look back at it.
100%.
Losers, I had
100%. They
the Magic, which I mentioned why. The Bucks simply for not trading Giannis. And the Lakers. I wasn't too happy with the Lakers. They were inactive as well. They traded Gabe Vincent, which Dwayne likes, but other than that, I think this team needed something more, and they didn't do anything. So those are my losers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Before we sign off, let's take a look at how the NBA is doing right now, standings wise, playoff picture. If the season ended today, who are the teams that have a legit chance of going to and winning the NBA Finals? Emmanuel, I'll start with you.
Give me Pistons from the East. Give me, ooh, give me, give me the Knicks as well from the East. So I'm going two from the East, two from the West. Give me Thunder and give me the Nuggets. And those are my two picks for the East and West.
Okay. Okay.
All right, give me Detroit easy, right?
Easy.
And then give me Toronto.
Hello.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
okay.
To- Toronto is slowly but surely kind of gaining speed, which I don't like. It's just like, holy cow, I didn't think they would do anything with this group. And then all of a sudden, like, this is a little bit of a problem. So yeah, definitely Toronto. And then obviously from the West, OKC. I feel like that's pretty obvious. But I'm going to say look out for the Rockets. I'm not saying the Rockets are most definite. If they just need to get over a few humps, and if not the Rockets, the Timberwolves. You always have to watch out for the Timberwolves.
Mhm.
That is just granted. So if let's say, and I'm not saying it's likely, but let's say OKC goes out in the second round and the Timberwolves are still there. It's not likely, but if that were ever to happen,
Yeah.
you better watch out for the
Yeah. Yeah.
Timberwolves.
Yeah. For sure. All right. In the East, Pistons, Knicks, and I'm going Celtics as well. Especially, I don't know what Tatum's status is. They say he's trying to come back, but even if he doesn't, like they're playing really well, and they've been there and done that before. So you can
Mm-hmm.
always count on a team to lock in that already has a ring. West, Thunder, Spurs. Did anyone say the Spurs?
I didn't say the Spurs. I
All right,
intentionally
I'm
skipped
going
over the Spurs.
Spurs. I'm going Spurs because they beat you booties.
I I
The
hold on, time out,
Nuggets,
time out, time out.
the Nuggets, because been there, done that. And anytime you have the greatest center of all time,
Okay.
and probably the Rockets too. They've been
Oh,
somehow underwhelming, but I feel like playoffs, they have the youth. So I'll give them that.
I can't say the Spurs yet.
Okay.
Hear me when I say that the Spurs will give any team a good run,
Okay.
but
No,
I
that's fair.
think
They're too
they
inexperienced.
won't. I wouldn't say too
I
inexperienced.
mean,
I would
OKC
just
Well,
was
say
inexperienced.
I mean, yeah, and look what happened when they went first time into the playoffs. They got swept.
True.
so.
I
I don't
mean, the
know. I
Spurs have
just I
no
don't
experience
see
in
the
the playoffs.
Spurs.
True.
I mean, to be fair, their coaching staff does though.
Sure, but it's different than the play. I
They
mean,
have the,
it's different than the players having actual because the
I mean,
players
I
are going to be on the
mean,
court executing what the coach
I
says.
do
But
understand. Whoa, hold on, time out. What? But the coaches are still in the huddle. Coaches, I'm just saying. Let's
yeah, but the
not
coaches
act like
aren't
the
going to be on
coaches
the
don't do
court.
anything.
Coaches
No,
don't
I'm
play.
saying they're going to the players are the ones executing the coach's plans. But if you're nervous, you're going to mess up those plans. So you actually got to be
No, I understand. I understand
pressure.
what you're saying. No, I do understand what you're saying. No, I do understand what you're saying. But yeah, I see them giving it teams a good run. I don't see them beating the Nuggets. Rockets
That'd be a
maybe,
really good matchup.
right? OKC, you're running into a 6 game series. I don't think you're beating them. It might be possible if OKC has a bad shooting series, which they are known for.
Not with Lightning
Um,
McCain.
which they are known for. Um, Lakers, they could beat the Lakers pretty handily. They're not beating the Timberwolves.
Mm.
So
Rudy
it's
Gobert and
Rudy
Lakers.
just
Gobert clamping up Wemby.
no, it's
Four-time
not because of
DPOY
Rudy.
Rudy
It's
Gobert.
because of
X
Nas
Factor.
Nas Reed.
There's no way
It,
Nas Reed is clamping up Victor
no,
Wembanyama.
I'm
He's
not
a
saying
small.
clamping. No, I'm not saying I'm not saying he's
Oh, okay.
clamping up. That's not what I'm saying. But the X factor would be Nas Reed coming off the bench,
Hmm,
100%.
okay.
That would be
Yeah,
the
that's
key
fair.
piece.
That's fair about the Spurs.
And then hold on, time out. I just want to shout out a team that I don't like, but they're doing really well, and I feel like in the playoffs they would be a problem. The Suns are going to be a problem
Ooh.
because you're going to run into a great defense again with the Suns. Now, the Suns would be playing the Spurs, in which I think the Spurs would win. The Suns play Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma will win easily. But once you started to drop below that, we're running into problems. I feel like Denver, Denver doesn't like defense, if that makes sense. So they're gonna be like, and then they're gonna get bumped and now not gonna like it. Houston, they already have internal problems. With their internal problems, Suns going to eat that up. That's going to be free lick. So, and then Los
KD
Angeles,
files.
you already know what's up. That has to be one of the funniest sagas in NBA history, by the way.
All right.
But anyway,
Lastly, we take a look at the playoff picture as it stands right now. And you look at the top 8 for each conference. Who are teams that are currently in the top 8 that you think could fall out of it by the end of the season? And then alternatively, teams that are currently outside of the top 8 that you think could get in to the playoff picture by season's end. Dwayne, start with you.
all right. So in the West, I'm already telling you, Warriors are going to go down. They're going to be a play-in team. If anything, probably maybe out of it. I just don't see it staying that way. I feel like Portland's going to come up on a rise up. They still have a somewhat solid squad. Like it's still, it's mediocre, yeah, but they're only 2 games behind the Warriors, and the Warriors suck right now. So, granted, I think Portland will actually be probably top 8, if not 7. I think they might beat out Phoenix. And then when you go to the East, to be honest with you, it's just a stink fest. Like it's just not good in the first place. Orlando's having a bad year, in general. So if any year for the Hawks or Charlotte to get good, and I think it would be Charlotte. So like Charlotte will raise, and then Orlando will eventually fall to that play-in.
Yeah, I agree with you for the East. I'm going with Charlotte. I'm willing to bet your firstborn on it. Uh, honestly, there's a pretty good chance the Sixers might go on a slide. They're already on a 3-game losing streak, and they're the 6th seed. And we know Paul George is out for 25 games. We don't know when Embiid's going to be the next time he plays. The Sixers have looked very touchable now. So there's a very good chance we could drop out of the top 8 and become a play-in team again. But on the Western side, I'm gonna go Clippers. The Clippers haven't played too bad. They're one spot behind the Warriors. So I expect the Warriors to drop down, and I expect the Clippers to take their place. They are, they're like 1 game behind.
I would like to say though, the Mavericks on a 10-game losing streak. I just wanted to point that out. That's wild.
Comeback season.
Well,
that's
the Kings are
wild.
if
Chris
that's
Middleton.
bad, the Kings are on a 15-game losing
Kings
streak.
are a 15-game
Yeah, hold
losing.
up.
Oh my gosh!
Bad time to be a Sacramento fan.
Also, I don't think the Bulls are making the play-in. They're on a 7-game losing streak. They're not.
No.
I don't think they're making it in.
They're not going to
no.
make the
Yeah,
Chicago
no.
Invitational?
Clearly not.
Bro,
They're
first
not
playing
gonna
without the
do it.
Bulls is going to be a
Hey,
sad day.
hey, Bucks might be sleepers. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're not that far behind. Maybe
Just to get swept in the
I
first
mean, they're 2
round.
games behind. Yeah. I'm gonna say the Bucks wouldn't even do
Usman Dang
much.
and Cam Thomas, Kobe and Shaq.
No, bro.
All right, Western
That's
Conference.
crazy.
Western Conference, I think Golden State does fall off. I feel like we said this last year when we did this. I think we picked Golden State to fall out of the playoffs. It's kind of funny, but I think this year is just not. It's falling apart. And I think that the Trailblazers could go on a bit of a run. Clippers, it's like I don't know. They got some youth back at the deadline, but they also I don't know. They could probably end up in there. It's just a matter of can they function as a team. In the East, yeah, I like Charlotte's chance at going on a run. I think Magic and the Heat could both fall out, but I don't know who I trust more to like stay afloat.
The
Magic
Heat,
is a better
just
team.
remember,
Magic are the better team, but Heat has more like playoff experience.
the Heat will always remain mid.
Yeah.
So if
We talk about the
you
Bulls
always
being mid, but the Heat are the
the
kings of
Heat are the
mid.
true mid. Yes, they are the true
Hey,
mid.
Although,
but
fun fact, the Sixers are statistically the most mid team. Their offensive rating and defensive rating are the same. So they are actually the most mid team in the league right now.
I was gonna say, aren't they like ranked 16th? Oh,
Yeah, they're like right in the middle with all the metrics.
Makes a lot of sense.
We love it mid here. Yeah, Hornets. I don't know if the Hawks, I don't know. They're kind of on the decline just because it's kind of a new team. I don't know if they have enough to go on a run, but I think the Hornets do. Love the Hornets.
Yeah.
All right. Any other closing thoughts?
Right.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, boys, for watching, and we will see you next time, whenever that is. Have a good one.